momentous news today. Elliott filed on Subsea 7, and as we're very involved in the offshore sector, as are you. I'd love to know what you think of that.
Well, the first thing we think is the industry, the area, the company is extremely compelling. Of course, we've thought that for a while, and the market hasn't necessarily recognized that. But of course, we do think the idea that someone as Elliott's stature, and probably Elliott will have information they'll probably want to tell the market why they think the stock is substantially undervalued. So it's an interesting data point, which really confirms what we've thought for a long time, and potentially does highlight what investors have been missing and what we think we understand to be an extremely compelling, interesting opportunity.
Do you think this puts more eyeballs on the whole sector, and that more generalists say, hey, let's look at this thing?
Yeah, I think it does. I think that's exactly what it is. It's just not company specific. It really is. So anything that's related to offshore, because that's what it is the nature of Subsea's business is they get awarded large contracts to do brownfield, but more importantly, greenfield development offshore. And so the contract backlog has been growing dramatically. And so, of course, that means that major oil companies are committing to significant capital expenditures. The projects take normally 2 to 3 years to execute. And so that backlog then feeds the amount of activity that will happen over the next number of years. That's already committed. So the major oil companies have already locked in, committed to that capital. And so I think that means for the entire complex, so the drillers, the activity level in drilling all those developmental wells to then develop the field locks in incremental demand for all of those rigs. So I think it highlights how much activity there is already and the trends are there's more of the same in industries that already have very high utilization rates. So therefore limited availability. Therefore what you're seeing is dramatic changes in pricing and profitability, and the ability that Subsea 7's backlog will provide investors when they look at it to understand, oh, this is the next 2 to 3 years, that trend's in place, and it's going to accelerate, and there's going to be more activity. So I think it's clearly indicative. And Elliott's clearly have a stature that people will look at that and say, maybe I'm missing something.